Okay, family, we're back on Stellarium. Our next sign that we're looking at here is the moon in the Silver Gate on March the 21st at 6:58 on meridian from Pacific Coast time. And we're going to go back to the gates of even and finish off with this section, as above, so below. When one studies the esoteric knowledge of the ancients in tandem with the Bible, one quickly realizes that there is present the concept of a duality of being and law of opposites clearly operating in the laws of the universe. Conversely, the sun reaches the halfway mark at the equinoxes or its balance. As ancient civilizations know of such knowledge, they attribute such an understanding to beings, i.e., fallen angels, that in some cases divulge such information to humanity. Many monuments throughout the world have been built to correspond to these two gates and their corresponding colors. For example, the most prominent landmark of a golden gate would be in San Francisco, with a bridge that acts as a gate to the city and nation for that matter. In corresponding Silver Gate is thus situated in New York with the Brooklyn Bridge that is silver in color and completes the symmetry of the nodes of the nation. Excuse me. This pattern is also seen in Europe, with a similar pattern of Lisbon having a golden gate color bridge and Istanbul having a silver colored bridge spanning the Bosphorus as the Silver Gate. This esoteric principle is in keeping with the as above, so below mantra of the ancient knowledge the rulers of this fallen world seek to tap into. These nodes are portals, gates that go beyond the physical, but the supernatural that involves the spiritual dimensions that are disclosed in the Bible, for example. This principle of a door or gate of entry and exit on earth are seen in the dimensions of paradise study, where the Silver Gate corresponds to the Pillars of Hercules in Spain, with the Rock of Gibraltar and Ceuta on one side of the strait. The back door would be the Strait of Hormuz, that would thus then correspond to the Golden Gate. This order in reverse to that of North American bridge gates, as well as on Europe itself, a beginning and an end. This pattern is also seen in Jerusalem, where there is a golden gate on the Temple Mount. It was this gate that Jesus entered on a donkey. Corresponding to the opposite side is the Silver Gate by the Tower of David, which is now called the Joppa Gate. On another level of meaning and interpretation of these celestial gates is that they have been attributed to not only a geographical location in time and space in the cosmos, but they have been elevated to the corresponding divine significance. The Bible teaches that heaven itself has gates and portals. Ancient civilizations also understood that these celestial points of reference not only had divine beings such as angels traverse back and forth from heaven to earth, but such heavenly beings took the souls and spirits of the dead on earth. One such civilization that highlighted this concept was the Egyptians. They attributed the Great Pyramid with such coordinates to Orion, and in one case where the soul of the pharaoh would ascend through the silver gate that corresponds to the gate of man near Orion, that to many is a gate to heaven. This is where humans would enter the realm of mortality on earth, and at the point of death, that is the separation of the body from the soul and spirit, would enter heaven by way of the Golden Gate. Later on, this religious notion was incorporated into the very emblems of the Roman Catholic papal seals. The coming opening of the portals. These two gates are currently symbolized by the golden and silver keys of the shield of the Vatican. Biblically speaking, the Gospels do depict Jesus Christ as the door or gate. In fact, Jesus himself attributed that part of his mission was to be that gate or door by which humanity could enter into and be saved only. He came to rescue and lead the sheep to heaven, metaphorically, but perhaps also metaphysically. This concept also would negate that there are not many ways to get to heaven, as even celestially, there is one gate to enter heaven. The Luciferians believe that they can pierce these gates or portals from earth. This is what CERN is really all about. Lucifer will attempt to scale the gate of heaven one last time before he is thrust down to the earth. His minions on earth seek to release the Titans that are bound before their time to aid Lucifer and his army against the final assault into heaven and at the second coming of Jesus. They seek to release or make a jailbreak for Apollyon to come up before his time. Such refutes to accept that it will actually be the Lord that will send the angel with the key to open their gate. Is sovereign, and it has reserved these fallen ones. The Creator is sovereign and has reserved these fallen ones to be part of our agents to incur the wrath upon the earth as they are let loose from their imprisoned dimension. In part, this will be the coming deception that will be part of the lie that will be believed. This lie may indeed involve an alien equation of the disclosure that now even the Roman Catholic Church is at the forefront of not only anticipating their arrival, but welcoming their presence as part of the coming revised plan to alter the gospel. The Bible teaches that, on the contrary, these unholy and fallen angels that were led by Lucifer in an attempt to overthrow the Creator were cast down to the second heaven. This realm is the atmosphere around the earth, the clouds, according to the book of Enoch. There were other fallen angels that had made a pact to defile themselves and humanity by mingling their seed in an attempt to deface the image of the Creator in humanity out of spite. These are the so-called Titans that waged war against the Olympians, where the Titans were cast into prisons below the earth and await to be released in the end of days before finally being cast into the lake of fire. This notion is echoed in the mythology of Tartarus. Amazingly, the Bible teaches that in heaven there is not matter, space, nor time. Thus, when one dies, the acceleration of time is completed and one is able to delineate the beginning from the end instantly. Some studies have suggested that the body is constituted by a spiritual tetrahedron type of constitution that can transcend time, matter, and space. If one only knows how to harness the energies and the key to travel through such gates or portals at certain places and times, how many who purport to do this is that the energy required to operate this endeavor is provided by fallen angels, demons, etc. In fact, some schools of magic purport to understand just that. Such espouse bodily astral travel and contact with the spiritual realm. In part, this can be done through drugs for one and in sorcery in another way. On the other hand, this transcendence will be done, for example, at the point and time of the rapture. The Bible is nonetheless replete in instances where such a transportation and transformation occurs with the energy provided by the Lord Creator Himself. The difference and signature is seen in the purpose for such an endeavor. The Lord's purposes will always be holy. The vessels. As far as the celestial gates are concerned, the Luciferians have incorporated masculine and feminine attributes to the gates and the constellations attributed to them. For example, regarding the silver gate of man, it is Orion, the masculine, that is paired with Taurus, the feminine. In one mundane aspect, it is the celestial bullfight in progress that depicts the celestial battle between good and evil, wickedness and righteousness. More than that, the ruling planet of the Silver Gate is Venus, found in Taurus. In ancient Egypt, this is why a Set is often depicted with the horns of a bull, i.e. Taurus, and the sun in between them, and it has in parentheses moon phases. Nonetheless, at least celestially, these two gates are a perfect mirror of each other. They represent the cosmic end nodes of the sun reaching its balance during the two equinoxes of a given year. In terms of the cosmic coordinates, the Silver Gate of man corresponds with the crossing of the Milky Way plane, or the galactic plane, which it is also called. As noted, what is amazing to ascertain is that in order for entities to travel through these gates, it requires a vessel and extreme amounts of energy. In recent observations from the SOHO telescopes, there have been unusual anomalies that appear to be objects coming into and out of the sun, perhaps for such purposes. Some have gone as far as to attribute these anomalies to massive spaceships. There are those that believe that the UFO spacecrafts are what the aliens use to traverse such portals. The ancient Egyptians typified this assertion of traveling the cosmos by a barge of boat. I think they meant or boat. Many in the esoteric crowd call these vessels Merkavas, or the chariots of the gods. In other sense, pertaining to the human beings, the body can be likened to that of a Merkava to travel to and from this mortal dimension. There is a concept of the beginning and the end that requires space, matter, and time, at least on this side of the gates. Recognize, then, that the essence and requirement to be able to live or be sustained in such a dimension on either side of these gates thus requires a body. It is the physical body, in the case of human beings, that is required to live in the mortal state constituted by matter, space, and time. Those within the heavenly realms have a spiritual body, but body nonetheless. In terms of the incarnation of the Son of God, it is said that Jesus the Messiah, that a body was prepared for him when he traversed heaven to come to earth in his hypostatic union and essence. As it is, there are now various levels of altercations done by the fallen angels since the first humans were created, have sought to interfere with the prime directive of the Creator concerning humanity, mainly that they were to be left alone genetically. The fallen angels mixed with humans, according to Genesis 6, to produce the Nephilim. And we will come back and finish up this series in the next video.